But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man, shit is mad corny. Like sometimes you'll get the love and sometimes you won't. Sometimes you get the love because you're performing. You know what I'm saying? Like you say they come into a spot and you killing it, they're just gonna show you love off rip. But some of the industry dudes, like if you're not playing they shit already, they already got a little bit of a slight towards you, even if they're just not hip. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
It's real weird. Before you used to have to like show people who you are. Now you're just supposed to know who they are,
Right, right. And they
which is
never
some.
look anything like the picture that's online when you meet them, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Word, word.
So sometimes is that this person? He had a hat on, he had a beard, you know?
Yeah, it's like the internet like made like it was like the internet's like steroids for the ego. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
you know if you aren't hip to their gram or their movement, before they walk in the door, then you're off touch, you're whack, you're off base and shit like that. You know what I mean?
I think people forget that when Facebook and Twitter first came out, everybody saw, my
Shit,
news
my
feed looked similar to
MySpace.
yours. Yeah, MySpace. But our news feeds or whatever they were, they looked similar because there weren't these algorithms yet. And so, 5, 10 years ago, if we followed the same people, we would see the same posts. But now, if I follow a cat person and you follow a dog person, your algorithm is skewed where you'll probably see more of those things and I'll see less of them. And nowadays you don't see and read and hear the same things that are on each other's pages and feeds, and everyone thinks, oh, did you see this? Did you see that video? Well, no, I don't follow dot dot whoever slash, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Nah, yo, real talk. What Kerosene saying too is like, yo, like, if you wasn't in the top 8, you had like beef. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
wasn't in my top 8. It's like, oh, I had an issue with you. I had to kick you out. I replaced you with some shit. Shit is crazy, man. The game is wild, bro. The,
Yeah,
the
we
whole,
we
the
miss
whole
Tom. We're
internet.
we're stuck with Zuckerberg. We miss Tom.
Hell yeah, man. Times it's crazy because MySpace got shitted on by Facebook, but MySpace was way better than
Yeah,
Facebook.
it was. Yeah, yeah.
Way better. You could change your background. You could put your
Hmm.
music.
Yeah.
Shit was killing it, yo.
They, I guess you could say they didn't know how to adapt, but I don't think anyone was prepared or understood how Facebook could get as big as they are today. I mean, it's where most people get their
I
news,
think
which
Facebook
is
just kind of came out trying to copy a little bit of MySpace, and then it kind of just got with the times way quicker,
yeah, yeah,
and then it took over. You know what I mean? Like in like '07, '08, it was still MySpace.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like '09, 2010 is like Facebook.
yeah, yeah.
'Cause I remember we was in Europe and we'd be bagging shorties and they'd be like, "Yo, do you have the Facebook? Do you have the Facebook?" And I'd be like, "Nah, I do not have the Facebook." So I had to get my Facebook on, you know what I'm saying? Because I
Yeah,
was on the
yeah,
MySpace shit.
yeah, yeah.
And then that shit transformed into IG and then, before IG, Twitter. And I like Twitter the best out of all of them, but the other ones serve a purpose too, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I like Twitter, but man, it's just like Facebook. It sucks you in so quick, and before I know it, I'm threads deep on something, and I'm like, what did I come
Yeah,
here for in the first place?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I just go in, check some shit real quick, and get out if I'm in the thread. Sometimes it's hilarious because you just fall into like the web of memes and shit, and that
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
is hilarious. I
yeah,
be
yeah.
dead just scrolling.
That's what I
People
tell
be like,
people
yo,
that.
I don't get. People be like, yo, I don't get Twitter. Some people that heavy MySpacers. I mean, my bad. IGers.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and I'm like, what do you mean? You could do everything you could do on all these other ones on Twitter. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
I
And
fuck with it.
the shorter posts it does make it more compact. And listen, I tell people I didn't vote for Donald Trump. I don't like Donald Trump, but news happens on Twitter. News is released on Twitter. This
Yeah,
dude
fact.
could tweet something that could change the world, okay? And so, you know, like I'm on Twitter because that's where shit happens, and that's just, it
Yeah,
is
nah,
what it
that's
is.
definitely where shit happens. That's where like the revolution is. Like all that shit they not showing on TV, that shit
Yeah,
is all on Twitter. Full HD video for you. You know what I mean? So like that's where the real shit is at. When things happen, like I know what's going on 5 seconds off Twitter.
yeah, yeah.
More than waiting on a fucking text from the news and shit. You know what I'm saying?
And they're a little more focused on, I'm trying to think of the word, but I guess human beings, because they stopped allowing political ads on Twitter.
Word. Oh
You
yeah,
know,
like the promoted joints.
yeah, like, you know, Elizabeth Warren and Bernie and Trump, like you can't, there's no political ads anymore on Twitter. And I mean, that's a huge amount of revenue that they just dropped, but you know what? They didn't like how, I guess it politicized everything, but every other conversation on there is almost about politics anyway. But
Yeah.
Facebook doesn't care. They'll take your money. You know what I mean?
Yep. Because
Facebook,
they're tied into, you know, at the end of the line, at the end of the web, they're in like the, you know, some type of government company's hands, you know.
oh yeah, without a doubt. They
So
they admitted that they ran a test. It was like a psychological test where they purposely put negative articles in your news feed, and it it perpetuated where everyone was sharing and becoming more angry, and they did it because they wanted to see how people would react. But
yep,
um,
definitely.
I mean, I can't say that Twitter's never done something like that, but you know, for Facebook to come out and admit it, I mean, you know,
It makes sense that they would.
just throwing it in our faces now, you know.
Nah, facts. They don't give a fuck. They have
Yeah,
no, you know, remorse or, you know,
yeah, yeah.
they don't feel no type of ways about anything they fucking do at this point.
No.
Yeah.
Is
It's a
there
tool.
anybody on?
They're tools, and you use them for what they, you know what I mean, for what they're there for.
Yeah, yeah. There's good that's come of it. There's benefits to using it, finding family members, and you know, the whole Egypt uprising started on Facebook, and meetups and protests and all stuff like that. You know, there's certainly good that comes from it, but
Yeah, overall, you know, it's like anything,
there's
good and
a
bad.
there's a guy I follow. His name is Ben Swan. He's actually from Atlanta, and he's a big independent journalist. He does a lot of news stories where it's, you know, the actual facts of the story, where the regular news media just gives you what you want to hear to scare you and fear you, and then
Hmm.
so he put out a video on the science of masks and how the science isn't settled, and how the science from the CDC and the WHO, there's still studies coming out. And so he did a test and he put this video out using studies from the CDC and the WHO that came out. I think the video he put up was maybe 2 weeks old. So it was like a 3 week old study. So it had only been out a week. And Facebook removed his video. And he's got tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter and YouTube and everything else. And they removed this video because they said it wasn't factual, it was fake news, it could be harmful, everything else. And so, of course, the next video he puts out is how he references the CDC and the WHO who released this report on masks. And he said, well, how can you say that, you know, this isn't factual when anyone that doesn't agree with the CDC and the WHO, that they have to take that information down. And here I am citing the study, but because it was, you know, maybe masks, you know, maybe the science isn't settled and maybe we need to study it a bit more. And yet,
Yeah,
you know, his shit was taken down because, you know, they're pushing some agenda, or at least they want us to believe what they want us to believe, you know?
yeah, and they're trying to block out anything that's not with what they trying to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So just like just like anytime anything like this happens or is being publicized in the news or in the mass media, they're gonna try to siphon that shit or sponge out all the information, all the good stuff.
Oh yeah, you can go back to the early 1900s when they were printing newspapers and they would
All
plant
types of
shit in there. And
propaganda
oh yeah, yep,
all day,
yep.
man.
That's how we basically got into every war we've been in. And
Yeah.
you know, is there anybody on Twitter, IG, Facebook that you follow that you would say is like a mentor to you, where they put out content where you're constantly learning from somebody, or somebody that you follow because they're a wealth of knowledge?
Um, I follow a whole lot of just random things. I mean, I get a lot of like historical stuff from like Dart, obviously, and I like following. Trying to think of who else. I like following the AOC girl. She's ill. She keeps it real. Trying to think. Can't really think of too many off the top of my head, but those are two things. Those are two people I definitely like to follow and just retweet what they say. I like when Reef gets on his like regular blue collar guy kind of thing. He's real relatable with that.
True.
I like the history like of Stretch Armstrong when he be tweeting. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Just shit like that. It's like I want to know certain things that like aren't in the like the masses really aren't on. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
Like I'm really like in tune with that type of stuff. Like I'll tell you a story. Like we was at Premier's lab. We was at headquarters working on Easy Money's joint. Nothing alike, right? So he's working on it in one room, and we just in there chilling. Premier, me, Term, Easy, and I forget who else we was with, and who else. I think Showbiz was in there. But anyway, we just chilling, and then this old black dude comes in the lab, and Primo like loses it. Like I never seen Primo like real hype like that. So he gets up, he's just mad hype. He's like, "Yo, wow!" And like we're like, "Yo, who the hell is this?" And it's Grand Mixer DXT from Rocket. If you know Herbie Hancock,
Yeah.
he's the first DJ that won a Grammy.
Okay.
So he comes in the lab. Primo's hype. Primo is like a calm, cool dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So in the middle of that kind of situation, we're working on Easy's joint. We go in the other studio, and I think Easy's like working on the joint. He's like he's either doing the video or he's working on the joint. So we go in the other lab while he's doing that, and it's me, Primo, and DXT in headquarters, and he's talking to us about like the origins of hip hop, like how it wasn't all in the South Bronx. It was like a lot of like the gangsters and the just people in the hood and like the West Bronx. A lot of people that played intricate roles in the birth of hip hop, like just street people that like nobody really knows. You know what I'm saying? Like way before Kool Herc, like 10 years prior to Kool Herc. You know what I'm saying? So he's just in there feeding us info, and like I'm eating that shit up, and Primo's like he just can't believe it, like, you know what I mean? Because he knows everything, so he's telling him shit he don't know. So shit like that, you know what I mean? Shit like that, like just you can't pay for shit like that.
Yeah.
Information like that is priceless.